Hello, everyone, and welcome. So, today's live stream, we're going to talk about something that I've been eyeing for quite a while now, and that's decentralized science. And you might be wondering, decentralized science, that's just a lot of things to be talking about in the crypto space. DeFi, GameFi, Metaverse, and now decentralized science. What's that all about? Is it just something that crypto bros are coming up with again just to form a narrative? Well, to that, I would say decentralized science is just a very simple narrative and is solving a very important need. And that's in the need, that's just simply where traditional science fails in the Web2 space, how it can become better in the blockchain. So in today's live stream, I'm going to discuss how decentralized science is helping traditional science, how it makes it better on the blockchain, how it makes it more secure, as well as an example of a project I'm looking at within this niche, within this field. And I'm also going to share with you guys how to get that project, because I've gotten several comments asking how they can buy it, the project being Genome. So how would you buy it? And I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on how you can, get funds into your wallet and get some of these low-cap gems, something that I believe will do very well within this space of decentralized science that we're talking about. So, like I said, what's decentralized science? Decentralized science exists mainly to solve the problems that exist within traditional science. The problems in traditional science, that field has several issues. And one of the biggest issues with traditional science in the field of traditional science today is the high barrier to accessibility. Is either very expensive or limited within very few group, within a niche of people, the elite or the very rich. And science is meant to be open source. There's a reason why there are people that have these open source movements where everybody can see the code and verify for themselves. So if science is always in centralized hands, it's going to be available only to the elites. There are always controversies about how people find the cure to cancer gets ticked off easily, because this is heavily collateralized, is heavily monetized. They don't want information to be available to the public. They want to make a lot of money out of it. That's why big pharma makes millions of dollars, because they don't want this knowledge to become easily available to people. So that is one of the biggest problems of science that decentralized science is trying to solve. It makes it more accessible, and if it becomes more accessible, there's a better peer review. Now, the point of peer review is more than one person should look at something. If I'm wrong, my partner will correct me, and if I'm if he's wrong, I'll correct the person. So this is very important. If science is not decentralized, if it's very restricted, and I mean there should be expertise. Yes, that's the point of qualification, that's the point of college degrees. However, if this expertise are limited to just a few elites, then the peer review might be a little bit biased, and this is another issue. In addition to this, there's also the issue of security, monetization without consent. It happens a lot in the scientific field. People, medical data, medical reports, they get monetized heavily. And this is a problem because, people have personal private data that shouldn't be out there. So, yeah, in short, that's what this article is about. I'm going to link it in the description for those of you who are interested in reading it. But I really think, decentralized science is something that the blockchain can benefit from. It's something that we can find very useful. And you can see here an example of why decentralized science is important is zero knowledge proof. So with zero knowledge proof, you can prove a statement is true without revealing additional information. So you verify your data, you make your data available, you make it transparent on a ledger without disclosing your identity. This also applies to monetizing your data. You can decide to sell your data because you have the full control and rights to that data without actually, disclosing who you are, or, if it's sensitive information that you believe research analysts would find useful. Like, take for example, an HIV/AIDS patient, you would like to provide that information without letting people know about that. So, yeah, private information that can be verified without disclosing your identity. These are just some of the reasons why I believe decentralized science is a very useful narrative, not just a phase, not just something that crypto bros are coming with, but something that can actually be justified by being on the blockchain. So yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting things within this niche, and I've put the link in the chats. You can check out the post yourself if you're interested in reading. And then I think to sum it all up, what decentralized science does is, good knowledge should be common knowledge. Otherwise, otherwise common knowledge would lack common sense. So that's the point of decentralized science, just to allow good knowledge to become common. And the projects I'm looking at within this niche that I'm excited to share with you, and full disclosure, I'm holding some of these, I'm buying some of these projects, is Genomedao. So Genomedao is within this niche of decentralized science I'm talking about, and it does something very important in a sector that is extremely important as well. It does genome sequencing. Now, this is a very important project. I'm going to share with you why I'm bullish on this project. But the main reason for my live stream today is, to talk about why I'm bullish on decentralized science, as well as how you can access this particular project, because there are some people that are interested in it that have difficulty buying the project. So what is Genomedao? Genomedao allows genetic sequencing to be more accessible, to be cheaper, because genetic sequencing, as we know it, is expensive, and not just expensive. The data is in the hands of people that you are not sure what they are going to do with it, and they might end up selling that data. So right now the project is up, and I got a question in my Telegram group asking whether this is a good time to get into this project, and that's a very valid question. I appreciate that person for asking that question. And what I would say to this is, I don't normally encourage chasing green candles. And this is a project that I'm investing in for the long term. So what I'll say to that is, you look at the market cap and you look at what this project is doing. And personally, I'm bullish on the narrative and I'm bullish on this project long term, and is why I'm actually buying this project. If is tackling this issue of decentralized knowledge, letting genome sequencing cheaper and more accessible, then this is a project that I believe can go to hundreds of millions. To just $100 million market cap is about over 25x from this point, and that's a very good good reward to risk ratio. So I think, that getting exposure to a project that you believe is worth holding for the long term is always a good step, even if you don't want to chase green candles. I always like to get exposure. And another thing I'll say to that is market cap and not price. I like to pay closer attention to market caps on projects like this instead of the price action. There are projects that you see that are up 60%, and while you're waiting for it to go down, the following day it's puts in another 50%, it's puts in another 70%. This emotional factor can be eliminated by dollar cost averaging, by just not putting all of your investments into it at once, but at least getting some exposure. So that is my answer to getting in on this project right now. You might not want to chase a green candle, but you might also like to get some exposure in case it keeps going up, and if you are bullish on the narrative, especially for the long term. So back to what Genomedao is all about. Great projects, less than $5 million in market cap, 3.7 million, and over 27% in circulation. A little bit low, but I believe for what they are doing, it can go much more higher. And the why the tokens are being released is to justify why the market cap, why the tokens right now are low. This is a project that caters to $1 billion institution, allowing people to sequence their genome. Genetic sequencing is not just extremely valuable data. It provides information to medical researchers, to scientists. It gives you your genetic signature that is unique to only you. So it's not just extremely valuable, but it's extremely personal as well. You don't want to end up in a science textbook or a biology textbook that people are going to study in the next 50 years or so, because they have access to all of your private information when they take your genetic sequencing. So this is a project that gives you back that control, gives you back that anonymity, gives you back that security in your own information, however, in a very unique aspect, and that's in the medical field. So Genome DAO helps you to allows people to build, to do their own genetic sequencing, and coupled with an NFT to show that you are, the owner of that information that you send back with your consent. And then this is locked in a vault. Only the owner of the NFT can access it. This is a useful and very unique use case of NFTs that I like to see. Not just having NFTs. You can display your NFT as, your profile pic and all of that community fun stuff. But the NFT allowing you to have access to the vault, to all of your information, to where, what part of the information you want to sell, to what part of the information you want to give out. I think that's a very good and unique use case of NFT, not just random monkey pics to flex. So yeah, Genomedao sends you a free sequencing kit, absolutely free. When we have ancestry.com 123 charging you for $500, $100 per month, they send you a free one, and they then lock that information using blockchain technology. A very good justification. We leverage the Ethereum blockchain to provide a transparent and immutable audit log of access to your genome. So I think that's a very good use case. And I also like the fact that the team has a I like the fact that the team has a medical personnel behind it, a PhD, and that shows that they can go forward. So yeah, let me, before moving on to the next part of the project, before moving on to the kind of markets that to cater to, and the people who would invest into these projects, let me quickly go through some of the comments. And a real pleasure to see you here always, Crypto Sets, my brother. I appreciate you joining me here today. And yeah, I agree with you, is a great project. Thank you, Beats DP, for joining me. It's always a pleasure to see you. And guys, yeah, listen to him. He's a very smart man. Don't forget to like, share. Williams, thanks for joining me anyway, for putting your comments. Even though it doesn't make much sense to me, I made a full disclosure regarding my position in this project. So if you want to, keep whining about that, be my guest. And TFO, Comes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for joining me here today. Crypto Caleb, I appreciate you. And yeah, let's move back into the project. So, who are the people that can find these projects very useful? Who are the people that will find these projects relevant? And I think this is something extremely important when investing into a crypto project. You want to buy into projects that would be able to grow organically, that can generate demand irrespective of hype. Whether or not there are many projects I talk about here. Take for example like XP Network. Whether or not I buy XP Network doesn't matter, because crypto NFT projects, the people with the money are going to buy it because it's useful to them. If I'm an NFT project in the crypto space and I want to move over from Near Protocol to Binance Smart Chain, I'll buy XP Network to make that a possibility. I'll use their platform to make it a possibility. It wouldn't matter whether this random African in Guinea called SSM is buying this project with his $500. They are going to buy it. They are going to spend thousands of dollars because they are trying to, please their customers and meet a demand. So pay attention to projects that can generate demand, that can get investors in without your hype, without your money. And I think Genomes DAO is doing just that. You can see the people that they cater to. You can see patient organizations, population sequencing initiatives, healthcare providers, even governments can find Genomedao very relevant. Biobanks and DNA testing companies. It doesn't just stop there. Pharmaceutical companies, academia, research institutions, biotechnology, CROs, and DNA testing out. This is literally a multi-billion-dollar industry that this project is tapping into. And seeing people complain that I'm talking about a project at $3 million in market cap when it can go to hundreds of millions of dollars in market cap is actually a bit ridiculous. I'm I'm referring to our friend's comments. So yeah, I feel a bit ridiculous because this screen wasn't being shared. That's where I was reading all of this from. Yeah, you can see the markets right here, the patient organizations and so on that can find Genomes DAO very useful and very relevant. And yeah, at one point in history, in the history of many of these cryptocurrencies, they were at low market caps. They were at 10 million, they were at $5 million before they went on to make hundreds of millions. So it's not a crime to talk about a low cap crypto project when you believe it can go really far. I'm bullish on this project and I'm holding it for the long term. So, and guys, I've made my point about how I feel about holding this project for the long term and not just FOMOing in, but believing in the fundamentals. It's not just all talk. This project is actually out there and sending their kits to people for free and giving you the option to monetize it. Each time they send the kits to people, they burn some of the genome, and the people who pay for it, the platform gets its percentage, you get your percentage, and that's how they're running the whole operation, the whole cycle of operation. I made a video regarding how this works. You can check it out. It's my latest video on my channel. So it's not just all talk. They are actually sending kits to people to do their own genetic sequencing and then locking it up in a vault, immutable, verifiable on the public ledger, and with the option of monetization. Makes me super bullish on this project. I think people would like that extra option of monetization because we are dealing with extremely valuable medical information here. We are dealing with extremely valuable data. So I think this is a very bullish move on Genomedao's part. The fact that they already have a working product that you can get started with right now. So yeah, now we are going to move on to the parts where a lot of people have raised issues with in terms of accessing the project. A lot of people have difficulty buying the project right now, and I'm going to show you a step-by-step guide on how you can buy Genomedao and store it in whatever wallet you want. So right now you can see that the main markets for Genomedao is Camelot on the Arbitrum ecosystem, as well as SushiSwap. You can buy on SushiSwap on Polygon network. You can also buy it on SushiSwap on the Ethereum network, but the liquidity there is low. It's got a low volume, and I think it's always better to buy it with areas that have higher liquidity, and that's why we're going to start with Camelot exchange. So the Camelot exchange is just like any other exchange that you're used to. Think of it as Uniswap or PancakeSwap. So you come to the Camelot exchange and you come over to this side here. I wish there was a way to make my mouse big. Okay, here. You come over to this side here and you make sure you're on the Arbitrum network, which is the only network available right now. And then next to that, you can see connect, and that's where you connect your MetaMask wallet. So once you connect your MetaMask wallet, what Camelot Exchange does is it checks for funds in that wallet. What is now important is making sure you have funds in your MetaMask wallet. And to do that, you have to fund your wallet from either Binance or KuCoin. There's only one requirement is that you need to pay attention to use the Camelot Exchange. When you are funding your MetaMask wallet, be sure to send it over to the Arbitrum network. When you're sending over your Arbitrum, you have to send it over to the Arbitrum network. That is how you'll be able to exchange your Arbitrum for whatever other coin or projects on the Camelot exchange. So you have to make sure that you send funds to the right network. There's the Ethereum network and there's the Arbitrum network. Be sure to send it over to the Arbitrum network to be able to use the Camelot exchange. So once you do that, you'll be able to exchange your Arbitrum for Gin. The Arbitrum exists. The reason why you're sending Arbitrum is you want to have enough funds and you want to have enough money for the gas fee and whatever amounts you're exchanging is for. So yeah, that's one way you can get it, and that's the exchange you can get it with the highest amount of liquidity. The second way you can get it is through SushiSwap, and just like Camelot, SushiSwap, you have to make sure you are on the Polygon network, not Arbitrum, not Ethereum, not Avalanche, but Polygon. Make sure when you are sending wallets to your funds, if you want to use SushiSwap, you are sending it to your Polygon network. And just like Binance, you have to select the right network. You have to make sure you're sending it to the Polygon Matic network. That way you can then come over to SushiSwap. You'll see that you have some Matic which you can exchange for your Genomedao. And that's it. Very simple, very straightforward way of getting this project and holding it for the long term, if you so please. And I think, this is a great project. I think this is a great project worth holding. This is a great project worth investing in, especially for the long term. And yeah, I'm going to go through the comments now. This live stream was just to quickly let you guys know some of the projects I'm investing in and how you can find it easily on Camelot or SushiSwap. Is really not hard. It's just like PancakeSwap. You just need to fund your wallets using the right network. So yeah, I think I'm going to stop there, take some comments, and um, then call it a day. So from Crypto Caleb, check the coin on the market and picture is placed in the sector. The price entry on this coin is early. Yeah, I really believe we're early on this project. I really believe, the decentralized finance narrative is going to be a useful one. And yeah, it's a great pleasure to have you here. And I think this is a great project as well. So, guys, this is a project that, like I said, full disclosure, I'm accumulating, I've bought into it, and it's a project that I shared earlier on to my patrons earlier today. So if you're interested in getting in early on projects like that, not just Genomedao, guys, this Wednesday, I'm dropping another project that I'm absolutely in love with. Very strong fundamentals, strong partnerships, and is actually mind-blowing that this project is sitting at less than 500k in market cap. So if you don't want to miss that as well, this Wednesday, be sure to consider joining my Patreon. And not just for the buy alerts, I have a lot of other service there as well. I do one-on-one conversations, especially, and help people answer their questions regarding how they can move about the crypto space, entry and exit strategies, how to find good projects, how to avoid scams, how to spot red flags, and so on. So yeah, be sure to consider joining my Patreon. I'm actually closing the Patreon subscription on the 10th of April, and yeah, it's just FYI. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I love you, I appreciate you, and I hope to see you next time. Stay safe and take care. Bye bye.